To enter the mind of a person who cheats is to enter a world that is defined not by evil, but by a profound and often tragic fracture. We are taught by society, by movies, and by our own pain to view the cheater as a villain, a person devoid of morality who simply does not care about the devastation they leave in their wake. While the devastation is undeniably real, the internal landscape of the cheater is rarely as simple as pure malice. It is usually a landscape of deep confusion, compartmentalization, and a desperate flailing attempt to solve an internal emotional problem using an external person. To understand this psychology, we have to look past the betrayal itself and look at the human mechanism that makes such a betrayal possible. We have to understand that infidelity is often not a verdict on the partner who is being cheated on, but a verdict on the cheater's own inability to integrate the different, warring parts of their own personality. It is a symptom of a psyche that has split in two. At the very foundation of this split is the tension between who we have to be and who we want to be. We spend the first half of our lives building what psychologists call a persona. This is the social mask we wear to be accepted, to be loved, and to be successful. We become the responsible husband, the devoted wife, the reliable employee, the good parent. We build a life of stability, routine, and predictability. This is necessary for survival, but for many people, this persona becomes a cage. As they get older, they begin to feel that in order to fit into this good life, they have had to amputate vital parts of themselves. They have had to kill off their wildness, their selfishness, their sexuality, their spontaneity, and their hunger for adventure. They feel that they are doing everything right, yet they feel dead inside. They are sleepwalking through a life that looks perfect on paper but feels colorless in reality. This is where the affair enters the picture. It does not enter as a search for a new partner, but as a search for a lost self. When a person cheats, they are often unconsciously trying to reconnect with the parts of themselves that they sacrificed to become responsible. The affair partner is not just a person, they are a portal. They are a mirror that reflects back a version of the cheater that has been long buried. In the presence of the lover, the tired, bored father becomes a desirable, dangerous man again. The exhausted, invisible mother becomes a goddess who is seen and adored. The affair offers a bubble universe, a separate reality where the rules of the regular world do not apply, and in this bubble, the cheater gets to play act as a different character. They get to step out of their heavy, dutiful identity and step into a lighter, freer one. They are not necessarily falling in love with the mistress or the lover. They are falling in love with who they become when they are with that person. They are addicted to the reflection of themselves that they see in the lover's eyes. To maintain this double life requires a psychological gymnastics known as compartmentalization. This is the ability to sever the connection between different parts of one's life so that they never touch. The human mind is terrifyingly good at this. The cheater creates two distinct rooms in their mind. In the first room, they are the spouse. They truly love their partner, they care about their children, they worry about the mortgage, and they believe in their values. In this room, they are a good person. In the second room, they are the lover. They are hedonistic, selfish, romantic, and free. The key to their survival is that they never let the door between these rooms open. When they are with their spouse, the lover effectively ceases to exist in their mind. When they are with the lover, the spouse becomes a distant abstraction. This dissociation allows them to look their husband or wife in the eye without collapsing from guilt. They tell themselves that what happens in the secret room doesn't count, that it is a victimless crime, or that they deserve this one thing for themselves because they give so much in every other area of their life. They essentially run two different operating systems, and they switch between them to avoid the crushing weight of their own hypocrisy. Deeply woven into this dynamic is the concept of the shadow. The shadow consists of all the desires, impulses, and needs that we repress because they are unacceptable to our self-image. If a person has built their entire identity around being the nice guy or the self-sacrificing woman, their shadow will be full of aggression, selfishness, and forbidden desire. Because they cannot acknowledge these feelings consciously, the feelings gain power in the unconscious. Eventually, the shadow hijacks the driver's seat. The affair is often the explosion of the shadow. It is the nice guy suddenly doing something incredibly destructive because he has no healthy outlet for his needs. It is the good girl suddenly breaking all the rules because she is suffocating under the weight of her own goodness. The cheater is often a person who has never learned how to be honest about their darkness, so instead of integrating it, they act it out in secret. They are driven by a compulsion they do not understand because they have spent their whole lives running away from their own complexity. We must also consider the profound role of validation and insecurity. Many people who cheat are walking around with a leaky bucket of self-worth. No matter how much love, stability, or success they have, it never feels like enough to fill the void inside them. In a long-term marriage, the validation we get from our partner inevitably changes. It shifts from the intense, adrenaline-fueled adoration of the honeymoon phase to a quieter, deeper, more knowing kind of love. For a secure person, this transition is beautiful. But for an insecure person, this shift feels like a loss. They stop getting the high of being worshipped. They feel invisible because their partner sees them in their pajamas, sees them brushing their teeth, sees their flaws. They crave the drug of newness. An affair provides a massive injection of dopamine and validation. The affair partner does not know about their snoring or their bad habits. The affair partner sees only the best version of them. This intense, idealized attention acts as a temporary patch for the cheater's deep-seated feelings of inadequacy. They cheat not because they are full of confidence, but because they are empty of it. They need a constant supply of external mirroring to feel that they matter. There is also a powerful element of confronting mortality. Infidelity often spikes during periods of life: transition, turning 40, the death of a parent, a career crisis. These events force a person to confront the fact that life is finite, that time is running out, and that the doors of possibility are closing. The realization that this might be all there is can trigger a panic. The affair becomes a way to rage against the dying of the light. It is a desperate attempt to turn back the clock, to feel young, vibrant, and alive again. The risk, the danger, and the sexual intensity of an affair make the cheater feel vital. It is an antidepressant. It is a way of saying, I am not dead yet. I still have options. I am still desirable. They are using the affair to numb the existential dread of aging and death. They are trying to outrun their own mortality by jumping into a fantasy where time stands still. Furthermore, we have to look at the inability to handle conflict and the lack of assertiveness. A significant number of cheaters are conflict avoidant. They are people who cannot say no, who cannot ask for what they want, and who cannot express dissatisfaction in a healthy way. Instead of going to their spouse and having the hard, painful conversation saying, I am unhappy, I am sexually frustrated, or I feel lonely, they stay silent. They swallow their feelings to keep the peace. But those feelings do not disappear. They curdle into resentment. The affair becomes a passive-aggressive way of acting out that resentment. It is a way of taking something for themselves without having to negotiate for it. Or, in some cases, it is an unconscious exit strategy. There are people who want to leave their marriages but are too terrified to initiate the breakup. They don't want to be the bad guy who walks out, so they cheat and they leave clues. They unconsciously want to get caught. They want to blow up the marriage so that the choice is taken out of their hands. They force their partner to be the one to end it, thereby relieving themselves of the burden of making the decision. It is a cowardly way of communicating that the relationship is over. Then there is the seductive nature of the secret itself. For people who feel controlled, trapped, or powerless in their daily lives, the secret of an affair becomes a source of power. Having a secret life gives them a sense of autonomy. It is something that is theirs and theirs alone, something their spouse cannot touch or control. It gives them a feeling of superiority or cleverness. In a life where they feel like they are constantly serving others, their boss, their kids, their spouse, the affair is a rebellious act of reclaiming agency, albeit in a destructive way. It is a private rebellion against the constraints of their reality. The secrecy creates an artificial intensity that bonds them to the affair partner, creating an us against the world dynamic that feels intoxicatingly intimate, even if it is based on deception. However, this house of cards is built on a fundamental inability to experience true intimacy. True intimacy requires being fully known. It requires revealing the good, the bad, and the ugly to another person and being accepted for all of it. The cheater is doing the opposite. They are showing one fragment of themselves to the spouse and a different fragment to the lover. As a result, neither person truly knows them. They are hiding from everyone. They are spreading themselves thin to avoid the terrifying depth of being fully vulnerable with one person. They are choosing the high of romance over the work of intimacy. They are choosing the fantasy of perfection over the reality of connection. This leaves them perpetually lonely, even when they are surrounded by people who love them, because they know that the love is directed at a mask, not at their true self. To understand the cheater is to understand a person who is developmentally stuck. They are often operating with the emotional maturity of a child or a teenager, seeking immediate gratification, avoiding consequences, and viewing people as sources of supply rather than distinct individuals. They are dangerous not because they are monsters, but because they are asleep at the wheel of their own lives. They are driven by unconscious forces that they have not examined. Until they are willing to stop, to turn inward, and to face the pain, the boredom, the insecurity, and the emptiness that they are running from, they will continue to cycle through these destructive patterns. They will continue to use other human beings as band-aids for their own psychic wounds. The tragedy of the cheater is that in trying to find more life, they end up dismantling the very foundations of the life they have, leaving themselves standing in the rubble, still searching for the thing that was missing inside them all along.